Alright, so this is a continuation of my last video. I said that I wasn't going to show you guys how I do this hand sanding. Figured, you know what, I'll show you guys my process real quick. Um, so first off, I obviously have my knife here, and you can see there's some jagged areas on here when I did my grinding to get the shape that I wanted. All right, now what we have to do is we have to smooth these out. So I'm going to clamp it here on my table. Get it clamped down nice and tight. Again, that's why you have the tape on it, so you don't mess up your blade. All right, so first and foremost, got my sandpaper here, make sure I get the right ones. All right, that's not the right one. Let's see. Where is my 60 grit? All right, so I like to start off with a 60 grit sandpaper. This is not an advertisement for this sandpaper. Any sandpaper that 60 grit should do. I like to get ceramic. Now, what I'm doing is I'm rolling it up. All right, and then I just sit here forever, seems like, and just smooth out those rough, high spots. Try to make it smooth, uniform, just so that it's comfortable in the hand, because you don't want any hot spots. Because you don't want it to injure the person using it. So I go through and take out all those, hot spots, anything that could possibly catch your hand, anything that might be uncomfortable. Now I start with a 60 grit so that I can get those angles sanded down nicely. Sorry, I'm doing this as I'm talking and telling you how to do it, and doing this, it kind of takes the breath out of me a little bit. All right. Keep going. Make sure you get everything. And as you're doing it, you're going to build up some debris in your sandpaper. Just move on to a different section and work with that. And you keep doing this until basically you're comfortable with it. It feels good in your hand. There's no real hot spots, no sharp edges, no sharp angles or anything, so that, no hot spots. I've had quite a few people ask me how I learned how to do this, and what I tell people is basically just do it. Basically just start. Sorry, that was just dye. Just basically start and see where it goes. You're not going to know until you start doing it, and you try. I have always been fascinated with knives. They've always had a place for me. I've used them throughout my whole life for various reasons. Some of you might know that I'm former military. We'll just leave it at that. So I am a veteran, and yep. So I've had my experience with using blades, and I've always wanted to make my own. Well, one day I decided, you know, after I got pretty injured, that I was going to give it a shot. I sat on a couch for a long time, couldn't figure out what to do with myself, and then I figured, give this a shot. And I'm decent at it, I think. But what I'm getting at is anybody can do this. You know, just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and you can do it. Now, the steel that I use for this knife is 1095 high carbon. It works for me. I like working with it. It's easy to work with. But if you find yourself a better steel, go with it. Anyways, so I'm going to continue doing this for a little bit. Shave that all down. Look for any more rough spots. There's not one right here that I got to work on. That just doesn't want to go. All right. As you see, I keep testing it with my hand, you know, check and make sure it's smooth. There's a little bit of a rough area right there. Shave that down. All right. Now, I don't think I have the next step. That's 60 grit, 20 grit. I don't know if I have 80 grit, because what I'll usually do is I'll go from there to 80 grit, which I don't seem to have any in my pile here. All right, well, I'm going to skip 80 grit for now and go to 120 because I can't seem to find it. Do the same thing, roll it up, give yourself a decent amount, and same thing. Now this time, when you're doing it, you're trying to just smooth out everything that you just took off. Now, I try to keep it going this way as opposed to this way. Occasionally you'll see me do that on the very edges, trying to shave it down, but I'm trying to keep all the lines going this way towards me. And the reason I do that is it keeps it uniform, keeps it looking nice, goes with the grain a bit better. Now we're going to keep going with that. A little bit longer on that. Goes pretty quick with G10. It's a lot smoother. I'll show you the finish in a second. So now that I've done the 120, all right, make sure, right there, get that smoothed out a bit. All right, so that was my 120. Now I'll go from there to 180. Now you can skip these steps, you know, step it up. Like let's say you start with 80, you can go from 80 to 180, 220, however you feel like you're comfortable with. But you want to make sure it's comfortable in the hand. I can't stress that enough. All right, as you can see, that's 180. Sand that down some. And I don't know how well you can see it, but it's taking off it like a little bit as we go, a little bit at a time. Get back here towards the end. It's already starting to look better. Let me bring you in for a second. And you can see it's a lot smoother, a lot nicer. All right, let me put you back. Realign that. Sorry about my thumb. All right, now we continue with the 180. Do this for a little bit. Just trying to buff out any spots that I made with the other one. Take out some of those lines, take out some of those scratches, take out some of the high spots. Try to blend it all together. All right. Well, that's that for my 180. Let's see. I think I have 220 in here somewhere. I'll check, see if I do. That's 400. Gonna need that in a little bit. 400. That's another 400. 600. 1,000. That's too high. Huh. Could have sworn I had 220 in here somewhere. 600. Sorry, this is going a little bit longer than I wanted to. 150. 220. Here we go. Let's grab 220. Set that over there. Same principle. Roll it up. The reason why I roll it is it gives you a smaller surface area, easier to control. Instead of trying to do a big sheet, you can see where you're going and what you're doing. All right. I'm only going to do this on one side to show you guys the concept. I'm not going to do the whole thing this time around. All right. Now we're doing the 220. Sorry, it's a little cold in here, so if you see my breath, it's pretty cold. We're running at 22 degrees out here right now, and the little space heaters that I have in this place, they're not made for heating this garage. It just, I use them to cure my epoxy. Wow. It's going to look real nice when it's done. Get that scratch out of there. All right. Well, that's my 220. Now from there, I step it up to my 3, where is it? I had it. Huh. Oh yeah, here it is. So from there, 220, I go to 320. There's 320. Same thing. You know, I know this video is not exactly the most thrilling, but you'll see the end result here in a little bit. Why I do so many different papers, so many different grits. All right. You don't have to do too much on 320. Again, I'll clean that up after. There's a 320. Grab a 400. This process takes a bit. Grab 400, same thing. Go with my 400. Now, you can stop here, or you can get really into it, go up to 1,000. You know, you can go as high as you want with it. If you want it looking like glass, you just keep going. There's one knife that I did. I went all the way up to 8,000 grit. And it had a mirror finish on the hilt. Now I'm going with the 400. Get in there, get it cleaned up. All right. A little bit more on the back side here. Towards the pommel. And I'm going to stop there for now. Let me grab a little bit of oil. If it will open up. Okay, not that one. Tiny bit of oil. Everything seems to be frozen here. That's not going to open up either. Fine. I have another thing. A little bit of oil here. Clean that up. Now, you guys remember how rough it looked when I first started, right? Let me turn the camera around real quick. Take a look at that. Nice and smooth, nice and clean. All right. Well, that's where I'm leaving that.